Welcome to the stream. We have got more news on the trial that's taking place in a federal court in Fort Worth, Texas. Something that you need to know about the presiding judge that may make a huge impact on how this all comes down and shakes out, as well as the most up-to-date information on where this trial stands today and when there might be a potential temporary restraining order granted. Now, to sort of recap, there's a legal showdown between the FDA and the Outsourcing Facilities Association, and it impacts in a huge way 503B and 503A pharmacies' ability to compound Tirzepatide. And we know that there are, at this point, maybe in the millions of people that rely on compounded versions of Tirzepatide who have had the rug pulled out from underneath them. The spotlight now, in my personal opinion, here at On the Pen, turns to the district judge, Mark T. Pitman. Now, if we can understand a little bit more about Judge Pitman, I think we can understand maybe why this potential venue was chosen for this case. So Mark Pitman is the Honorable Judge Mark Pitman is a Trump appointee with a well-established record of scrutinizing regulatory overreach and holding powerful interests like Big Pharma accountable. In previous rulings, Pitman has actually demonstrated a firm hand against Big Pharma. Most notably, he ruled against Pfizer and other pharmaceutical companies seeking to dismiss lawsuits related to drug pricing. Did you hear that? I think you did. This is a huge deal because his no-nonsense approach underscores his judicial philosophy. Large corporations, particularly in the pharmaceutical industry, should be held accountable when their actions compromise consumer access or inflate prices to unreasonable levels. So this is a huge deal, a absolute huge deal, just understanding the background of where this judge has come from. I think this is a big deal. As far as Chevron, which was a recent ruling by the Supreme Court, it's removed the court's ability to defer to the FDA's actions in this case, their decision to remove Tirzepatide from the shortage. Before Chevron was overturned by the Supreme Court, the court could just show deference to the Supreme Court's opinion to the FDA's opinion to remove Tirzepatide from the shortage. This really opened the door for this to be challenged. So it's important information as background to this case because Judge Pitman is presiding over the challenge of the FDA's decision to remove it. And with this hearing that is taking place for the temporary restraining order on Tuesday, October 15th, we could hear within a day or two whether or not that temporary restraining order is granted. If it is granted in this case, the FDA would temporarily, while this case continues, have to stop their enforcement actions against pharmacies that are compounding Tirzepatide. And this would ensure access to the, like I said, probably in the millions of people at this point who rely on Tirzepatide compounds for accessibility to the medication. And today, which is October 11th, Friday, October 11th, we're actually awaiting the FDA's response to this motion. And so we're going to get a little bit of insight into the FDA's legal maneuvering and how they are going to fight back here. So we will cover that extensively at On the Pen. That's why you need to make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Follow us on all the socials, and then stay tuned to onthepen.com where we cover this extensively. Now, I think the important thing for people to understand in the context of this broader conversation about the trial going on in federal court is that this ruling would only impact the FDA's ability to enforce restrictions of their own. This has no bearing on Eli Lilly's legal strategy because just yesterday we learned that Eli Lilly sent out hundreds of cease and desist letters to compound pharmacies, telehealth platforms, and med spas, basically demanding that they cease the production and sale of compound tirzepatide. So this case has no bearing on Lilly's legal strategy to leverage their legal army on folks who are selling and manufacturing compounded versions of tirzepatide. So it's important to know that while this temporary restraining order may be granted in this case, it may or may not be. If it is granted, it doesn't have any impact on the pressure that Eli Lilly will continue to put on these telehealth companies, which is can't be understated. I mean, you have a bunch of small telehealth companies that are many of them startups, potentially facing legal action against Eli Lilly, who has deep and unending pockets on this. It will be interesting to see if the TRO is granted, how much bearing that has on the offerings themselves. I'm sure the compound pharmacies have more of an appetite to fight, but what telemedicine companies will remains to sort of be seen, right? So we'll stay on top of that, all of this as it all develops over the next couple of days. We'll have to see how any ruling here influences Lilly's appetite to pursue legal action. That's one thing that remains to be seen. On the one hand, a favorable ruling for the OFA could embolden compounders, making them more willing to continue operations despite Lilly's pressure. On the other hand, the restraining order may incentivize Lilly to double down on its efforts, particularly if they feel the FDA's hands are tied. So you may see Eli Lilly become even more aggressive, but it all remains to be seen, right? So I think this is important context to have as we move forward in this. I think it's important to stay in tune with all the latest developments on this case. That's why we continue to update you in real time. Hopefully this information was helpful for you as you continue to navigate these waters. Of course, we will stay on top of this, so make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell notification. Stay in touch with all the updates that we make. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for being the best part of On the Pen. Until next time, we'll keep you posted. Have a good one.